take another day to restart and refuel this moon boy ship. My dreams may be futile, but it's you say, well, my dreams may be futile, but Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. Oh, you see, my Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble. I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. A Bitcoin bull is all I got left. Sold my clothes, gold no less. Was a circling, hollow hands. This man stronger than the average man. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pin. I'm not the bubble, I'm not the bubble. Day the markets take another day to restart and refuel this moon boy ship. My dreams may be futile, but it's you say, well, my dreams may be futile, but Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. Oh, you see, my Bitcoin bull keeps charging away.
And people can now hear us, and people should be able to see us as well. So welcome to today's show. Here we have with us currently Michael and Dennis, and we are waiting for more to join as we go through this event.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Anders, for having us on today. We knocked this out of the park, man. I'm so thrilled with this event and how it's unfolded. We've raised roughly $30,000 for Haitian Roots. Chareyl Moyes will be joining us shortly from Haitian Roots, so we can tell her the exciting news and find out the path forward. But originally, when I spoke to her and interviewed her initially, they said they needed around $75,000 a year for their school food program. It's 75 cents per meal. So these kids get at least one meal a day, right? I'm sure, it's just enough to sustain, but try going to school with an empty belly, right? And it's impossible. So the fact that we got, almost halfway there with this proof of concept, never done before, art sale on the blockchain, cowboy style, we throwing stuff up against the wall, like driving Dennis crazy sometimes. By the way, Dennis Singh here is my partner at Uplift.art, and he is just one incredible champion. I could have not even come close to pulling this off without this man before you. He's behind the scenes. He is just like one of the most brilliant, organized human beings I've ever met in my life. And I know it's challenging to work with M Blue at times because I'm just throwing stuff left and right. How about this? How about this? And Dennis always comes back with the measured approach, looks at all sides, right? So it gives the pros and cons. Slow down, Blue. Slow down. Here we go.
That is good.
Thank you, Dennis.
Because I can only agree. I've been working with you only for a short time during the last the push for the big event that just happened, and during that time I'm the same as you, Michael. I go and like ideas just throw out, and I just do a lot at like a burst, and there's a ton of information to digest, and Dennis is always very professional to work with there.
So
Thanks, very kind.
Yeah, you know, Dennis, everybody that meets you, like, you know, we're working on a lot of, you know, beautiful things. And a lot of it will be rolled out in the coming months and into 2021. But yeah, everybody that's been introduced to Dennis just absolutely sees his value and his talent right out of the gate. And it's just a real pleasure to work with you, Dennis. So thank you for everything you contribute. I mean, we live on opposite sides of the earth, right?
Yeah.
And I'm at times pinging him at, you know, evening time, my time, which means like in the middle of the night for him. And he's still working. He's still just, I don't know when he sleeps, but yeah, he's around the clock guy, man.
On the weekends, usually.
Currently on stream, what I'm showing right now is the Haitian Roots account on Wax Blockchain Show. Anyone can actually go. It's called Haitian Roots, very simple to remember. You can see the total balance right now and the current evaluation in US dollars. Right now is $28,423 in that account. So if anyone just want to keep track or keep up to date with that, very, very nice.
Yeah, and we've got another payment at the end of today, or actually at 12 p.m. Eastern time, so in a couple hours, we're going to make the second of two transactions to this account with the ending balance, which is about another $1,000 worth of Wax. You know, and Wax is in a very kind of volatile space right now, as all crypto is. But you know, wouldn't it be nice if that bad boy just doubled overnight for them, and or even a little bit more, and we actually funded that food program for the year?
Yeah,
that would be that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I have a small cup of tea for today. It's like it's as big as my head. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, as this discount window is ending, and the discount window for crates is ending again at 12.
Yeah. So okay, let's stop you there, Michael. What is the discount window and what is happening today?
Well, just one, to accelerate this charitable drive for Haitian Roots, we came out of the gates with what we called our prosperity pricing, basically a discount. You know, before we launched, we had the community crates, right? So we're giving people a taste of what's to come, right? Because the assets in those promo crates were variations of what the Series 1 drop was. And so it was, you know, spreading awareness, building the community, letting them know, hey, there's this new thing this new kid on the block, and, you know, building the community up. And, you know, a lot of people were like, God, this is a cool project. I love the art. And some people commenting, God, I can't believe these crates are going to be so cheap, right? And so the initial thought is for this Series 1 is to get the pricing in there to where a lot of people could participate if they wanted to, right? And then at the same time, you know, accelerate the charitable component, the crowdfunding for the food program for Haitian Roots. So we've got this 2-week discount window, roughly 2 weeks. It was 15th of October to the 6th of November, right? November to December, November 15th to December 6th. I'm still waking up here.
So 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I'm
okay.
like, oh, is it only 2 weeks? It feels like longer.
You know, my wife just brought me my first coffee, and it's still full. So
first coffee, and it's 4 p.m. in the afternoon, right, Dennis?
Yeah, it's about right.
So the mental calendar isn't quite focused yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so we wanted to be able to just, close the books and move out the payment before Christmas to hopefully bring some cheer to the community in Haiti that really needs it. I mean, think about where the world's at right now. There's a lot of disruption. There's a lot of businesses closing. I mean, in New York alone, they're saying 30% of the businesses are closed. So think about what this means to third world nations, right? Like when the Western world closes down, well then, what does that mean for already pretty much closed countries, right? So Haiti was one of those that's been hit really hard, and it's a really sad thing that's going on, not just in Haiti, it's going around the world, but Uplift.art is in a position to help one small community in a small country of Haiti. Someday I hope to be able to help many communities around the world and uplift those communities, but you guys start somewhere.
Exactly.
And so having a relationship already with Haitian Roots, for many of you know that my wife and I and our two natural born sons, we've been on an adoption process for over 4 years. We were able to finally bring home our daughter from Haiti, and she's been with us for now 6 months. So through that whole 4-year process, I got to know Chareyl Moyes of Haitian Roots and really love their approach to charitable giving in Haiti. And hopefully Chareyl can join the call. I gave her the link. But anyways, in a nutshell, the way a lot of charities are set up in the world, they actually, I hate to say this, but for lack of a better phrasing, they sometimes do more harm than good, because they have great intentions. They come in, they plop a lot of food into a region it's like a Band-Aid, right? But the unintended consequences is then you're putting other businesses in the region out of business, because here comes a flash flood of resources that are only last a certain amount of time, right? So now you're making it's a quick fix, right? And people, oh, good, thank you for the food. But then, the bread maker's out of business. This, the whatever, right?
They get dependent on help.
It disrupts the normal natural economy oftentimes. And so what Haitian Roots does is they go in and they find ways to offer support. Like they go in, if they're building a school, they don't bring in outside contractors and churches and stuff to come in and build that school. They hire local contractors, the local ecosystem, to build that school. They engage the community to do that, right? They engage the parents of the students. So it's really, for this food program, they're not flying in food from, America or wherever, right? That food program is established and created in that community to help the self-sustaining perpetual motion. Yeah. So this is a model that I can really get behind, because it's not just a Band-Aid. It's more of like, hey, how can we uplift? And there comes that term again. How can we come in and uplift and empower this community to do it on their own, right? To get them in such a position to where they can thrive on their own. So it's a long process. It's a multi-decade process in some instances, but I think Haitian Roots is doing a really great job. Really happy to be supporting them on the
and it's great that you have a relationship, because that is needed in this ecosystem, the trust part, because as you say, there are a lot of charities. Not only do they just bring work from where they come, they take a lot of the funds on the way, then they just vanish. And that is not sustainable in so many levels. And as you say, this food program is to give them 1 meal per day. I have a kid, he's 2 years old. He doesn't get 1 meal per day. If he is like in a bad day, he eats 4 times per day. And that like puts a lot of things in reality. So this big program is to feed kids once per day, because if not, they don't get to eat. And that is just, it's crazy, especially now that I have a kid, to just think about my kid going around all day, going to kindergarten, and when he's there, he doesn't get to eat. and that would be really strange.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, in Haitian Roots, they never really had it in their mission statement that we're going to go in and feed people, right? They were going to go, their mission is education, right? They want to go in, they want to help these communities build schools, train local teachers, get their schooling, because there's really great research, charts, you know, peer-reviewed research on how poverty follows poor education. So if a country has just abysmal education or no resources for educating the population, hence you'll find poverty, right? So the most impoverished nations around the world are the ones that are most illiterate, right? So they get that. So they want to fix that through education. So their whole mission was, let's build schools, train teachers in the ecosystem, bring them up, allow them to get educated, and hence slowly rise out of poverty. But because of this COVID pandemic situation, they've got these schools with these kids coming to schools who are eager to learn, but guess what? They're coming to school starving, right? So, you know, now they had to switch focus. Okay, now we need to also feed these kids that are coming to school starving. And so they initiated this local food program, which they're seriously underfunded to do. So they've got the tool, they have the process, now they just need the funding. And fortunately, you know, the wax community really came in and you know, participated in the Series 1 drop. Thank you all. I mean, let's talk about this, you know, this community that's forming in Uplift.art ecosystem. We have a Telegram channel. It's Uplift.art.
Yeah, it's linked below. It's linked below the video as well. Haitian Roots is linked as well if anyone wants to check out what they are doing.
I mean, we just have an amazing group of individuals popping in there and sincerely doing good. I mean, they're putting up auction sales on their own and donating a good percentage of that to Uplift.art. They're just rolling their sleeves up and just thinking, how can I add value to this community? And it's really, really beautiful to see and appreciated.
Yeah, and like talking about what you said before about they have to eat, they can't starve and educate themselves. If anyone is familiar with like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think that's the English name for it. It's a pyramid, like the base foundation of what you actually need. I will show it on screen, but I will not share it with you because it messes up our video. I will hide myself with it so we can still see Dennis. But what this essentially means is that like the base layer, before you can actually change anything in your life, you need to have air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction, ability. And if that is not met, everything else doesn't matter. Like education, work, whatever, it doesn't matter if you can't have the first base layer. And then you need like personal security, employment, resources, health, property. These things are like the next level to actually have a home, have some kind of income. But if you don't have any food, if you don't have any water, income and job doesn't matter. What you need is food and water. And then when you start to realize that, then you get like, you just need some friendship, you need a family, some sense of connection to a purpose. And when that is done, then you can start to work on your self-esteem, which is like recognition, strength, freedom, respect, and self-actualization is in the top. And this is what we try to focus on in our world, where our desire to become the most that we can be is what we focus on, because we have all these layers already. But for someone that don't even have the base layer, they have no food, no water, it's very hard to actually try to do anything else in your life than to spend all day trying to get food and water. And if you do that, you won't get further, because the only thing you can do is take care of today. Try to get food today. You can't start to work on a business for the future, or start to work and then you see, okay, I worked now for 1 week, 2 weeks, and then I get money and then I get to eat. It won't work.
Definitely.
Yeah, I get it. You know, I've been, you know, I've lived many lives in this lifetime, and you know, as you were talking, one particular moment came to my mind of, man, when I was younger, got in my early 20s, rock star in LA, it's like I've been on top of the world and I've been at the bottom of the world. And I remember this period in LA where I was just like broke, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? Right. So when you're in that situation, it's like you're in survival instinct mode. And I can't even imagine what it's like bare feet in, in mud. Some of these provinces in Haiti, it's literally like living in a dump in some of these places. Hey, there she is. Chareyl Moyes, HaitianRoots.com founder and friend. Thank you for being here, Chareyl.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for my technical difficulties.
It's no problem. We have caught up with what has happened. We've done some. Michael has presented what you guys are doing and why you are doing it a bit and so forth. So welcome here. We're very happy to meet you and to talk to you.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. You guys are amazing. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be part of this new, innovation and what you're doing and having you help Haitian Roots and the children in Haiti while you're doing great things. Love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Chareyl. And this is really a first in history of this kind, right? This type of a charitable art drop on the blockchain. It's just like people are still trying to figure out like the mechanics of this thing. Like what? Like
and
what do you do?
I actually have a question there, Michael.
Like, it's on what? It's like so it's like this really cloudy gray. Like some people really get it, right? And some people are really loving it. But it's we call it a proof of concept. We had this new technology, this new protocols, this new opportunity at using blockchain and art and something called non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Yeah. And we had this idea, can't we do this and help a good charitable cause at the same time, which Haitian Roots was first on my list just because of our relationship and our past, Chareyl, and it's just a no-brainer for me because, I've got to personally believe in anything that I'm supporting in such a way. But yeah, this is history.
It really is like just me trying to explain it to people because I'm not in it like you guys, but they're like, now wait, what? Yeah, what's happening? Yeah. So, but it's cool. It's super, super cool. And it's so fun for us to be a part of. But I mean, mostly too, just, I'm the same way. I have to believe in something, and I've worked in Haiti for a long time, and we have to. Our charity has to leave people better than they were, and we can't hurt people in the process. And that's sometimes what charity does. It's not helping; it's hurting. But when you do the research and you listen to people on the ground, then you know what you need to do. And education is the key to success. It's the key to success in every country, every country in the world. And even just what you're doing, getting educated on this new way of raising money, this new way of kind of using money and a different type of money. It's kind of it's all pretty amazing. But education really is the key. And Haitian Roots is doing great things in Haiti, not just because I'm, a part of it, but really, truly, we're seeing amazing things. This weekend, or this last couple of days, our teachers have been in this intense training from an organization called P4H Global, and they go in, they mentor our teachers, they teach them how to be better teachers, and it's Haitian, this organization run by the coolest gals. They have PhDs. They're amazing, smart, a Haitian, and raised in the U.S. But anyway, they go in, they train these teachers. So not only will they train our teachers, but it's a 3-year program. So they will mentor our teachers. Each teacher will have a mentor to help them, because we have to change so much. And it's like we were talking to them one day, the teachers in a meeting one day, And we said, we don't want you to hit the children, to discipline them. We don't want you to hit them. And one of the teachers raised their hand and said, then what do we do if they're being naughty, or if we, and we're like, don't hit them. That's not. But anyway, so giving them new ways of teaching, and they don't know about hands-on learning and so many things like that. So this program, we had to get on a wait list for this to get into this teacher training program. And now our teachers have that. They did 3-day training. In the summer, they'll do like a 2-week workshop. And then for 3 years, they will follow up and train our teachers. So I wanted to share that with you, so you know that it's not just starting a school and throwing money at it. We're training our teachers, we're training our parents. The parents have to come to a meeting once a month to where they learn to be involved in their children's education. That's a new concept for them. Parents in Haiti haven't been involved. They weren't educated, so they haven't been involved in education. So we're teaching the parents, we're teaching the teachers, and we send counselors in to do trauma training for the teachers and help them with some of their trauma so they can help the kids with their trauma. So, I just want you guys to know that you really are helping a great cause. And we have over 400 children in school. We have 85 staff. And now the money that you've raised will be able to feed them a nice hot meal every single day. So, you guys are part of this great thing that we're doing. And I really can't thank you enough. And I don't want to get emotional and, plus I'm rambling, I think. I hope I'm not. But anyway, I want you guys to know so much of the good that we're doing. So I'm trying to hurry and tell you everything. So
No, thank you, Chareyl. Yeah, no, that was really well put. And I tried to communicate that earlier before you got on the phone, but I'm glad you came and really clarified that in your own words.
Yeah, I have a question here, and that is for Chareyl, really, because
yes,
for us, we are all in the blockchain space. We are all familiar with this. And then Michael come to you and say, hey, I have an idea to do this sale on a blockchain to gather cryptocurrency for you to use to feed the kids. How was that process, and what went through your head when he's starting to talk about this? Was you familiar with the crypto before, or this entire field?
No, Michael is my 100% teacher. I told him that I felt like I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. Sorry, I'm telling you how old I am. And I said, I feel like I'm watching one of those shows where you're, it's in the future and this is super futuristic. And so no, I wasn't familiar with it, but Michael's been trying to help me and to learn about it. But I was just really excited about it. I think it's such a cool concept of what you're doing. And it is new, it's exciting. I don't know a lot about it, but I love learning new things. And but when you come to me and you say, hey, we want to help the kids, I'm like, yes, please. And tell me all about what you're doing. I love it. It's cool. And, when you sent me the first video of, I was like, this is super cool. Like, it's just, really interesting, really cool. And a lot of talent. This is like, the art and the music part of it and stuff. So that part's really, really cool too. So there's some super great talents involved with it as well.
We have the art, the one that made all the art there, and below you in the chat we have Corey, which is the singer of the music.
I love that. That was so amazing.
Yeah, how that process, and I'm so glad Corey's on the call now. He's super talented. He's actually my favorite singer right now. If you'd ask me who's your favorite male vocalist, I'd say Corey Cottrell. And I have the privilege of being his official producer.
Yes. All the yes.
Is it official?
100%. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this guy, we're working on a tune right now called Solace, which is probably one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. and it's just perfect, just him on a guitar, right? It doesn't need anything else, in my opinion. But I get the privilege to produce it and add a bunch of things to that track that it doesn't need. But it's going to be a lot of fun doing it. So that's going to be part of an Uplift.art event coming up in the future. We're going to be giving more details of that, but it's legendary. It's amazing. Can't wait to share it. We've got an incredible event coming up around Christmas time with the community crates that we used as promos before the Series 1 drop. So people are asking me, well, what are we doing with these promo crates? Well, that's going to be announced here in the coming weeks, just in time for Christmas. Some extra community building, some more fun, some more value added to the ecosystem. But Corey Cottrell, I did an auction, or we did an auction, Uplift.art did an auction 3 months ago as a proof of concept. I did a music video called My Bitcoin Bull, first music video actually on blockchain. And we did an auction of that and it went really well. I did a remix of that as well. And then I sent it to Corey. Corey was interviewing me on chirp.la on his Chirpcast. And he was talking, he was asking me about this whole NFT thing and Uplift.art. And it came out that he was a musician himself. So I sent him the tracks and I said, hey, if you want to like doodle around with this thing and make a variation, that'd be super cool. And so he did, and he sent me back a vocal track and a guitar track, right? And I go, oh my God, this guy's talented. And so that's where I'm Not the Bubble came about, is I said, oh, I got to produce this. And so I'm Not the Bubble is the evolution to My Bitcoin Bull remix, which is MBB remix on the Atomic Hub, for those that want to hear what I'm Not the Bubble was inspired by. But Corey, man, such a privilege working with you, man.
Thanks, Corey. I love it.
Man.
I love the music. Love it so much.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. It was great to hear. I'm glad I managed to get on. It was great to hear about the kind of work that you guys are doing there. So I talked to M Blue about it a bunch, and like it seems like the kind of charity seems like almost too small of a word, but like the rebuilding, the re-educating, like actually going in to try and do some good. M Blue's told some stories about them building like a school that just kind of sits kind of empty or whatever, right? Like actually going in and meeting people where they're at and really dialing into improving that. I could not be more proud, frankly, that we got to help out with that.
Thanks so much. And honestly, I'm trying to sell it to you, but I just want you to feel good about what you're doing because
it's working.
Because I've been there so much and I've seen, and I've made mistakes over the years. So I'm not going to lie. We've made mistakes, but then we step back and take a look at it and say, how can we be better about our charity? How can we be better about helping? And we don't want to be the white saviors. We want them to save themselves. And we want them to be proud. Like we tell the teachers and the parents and everything, this is your school. We're here to support you. We're here to do, to back you up. And yes, we're getting the financial means for you to run the school, but we want you to run it. And we're going to help you do that. So, and we listen to them. The teachers told us some of the kids come to school hungry. And I know the teachers are hungry. And so we've listened, and we've listened to some of our other friends who talked about going to school. And Michael and I talked about this in the podcast about listening to Haitians who've said, they've wondered where they're going to get their next meal. And, we don't want kids at school starving. We don't want them at school being with their bellies hungry. Then how can they learn? So this is just another part of that. And we started the food program last year. And, it really has been on a song and a prayer because we didn't have that in the budget originally. And it cost a lot. It's a small amount per meal, but we're feeding a lot of people. So this is going to really help us to not be stressed out about that. what you guys have done in raising this money, it helps us to say, okay, thank goodness we've got that money for the food. So, because now that we've started the program, we don't want to go back in and say, oh, we ran out of money. So
yeah,
we're
you're
gonna
only getting food on Fridays now.
yeah. We don't want to do that. So we just.
I have a
can't
question
thank you
here.
enough.
How many people, like how many teachers and how many students and schools are you working with?
So we have just over 400 students, and we have 85 teachers and staff at 2 schools. So
Like
and
1,000
we have,
people.
yeah, no, that's total. So we have
Okay,
about
yeah, yeah.
it's around 500 right now, 500 teachers and staff, and just over 500, about 520.
And like the teachers, are your organization making sure they get a pay so they can feed their families and support
Oh
their
yeah, we pay
relatives?
them. We pay, we pay them a tiny bit above what a teacher would be paid at any other school. So we're learning too. Like you want to make sure that you do things correctly. So if a teacher's salary is a certain amount within the country, you want to stay within that amount, but we try to do just a tiny bit more than that to keep them at our school. And plus they get, the teacher training and a lot of those types of things. But no, all of our teachers get paid. We never miss that. That's part of the problem in Haiti is they've got a few government run schools, but then the teachers go months without getting paid. Then they don't show up to school. And since we started Haitian Roots schools, we've never missed a payroll, never. So the teachers know that they can count on the last Friday of every month, they will get paid their salary every month. And we do little things for them. We'll have when we have teacher meetings, we'll do a big meal for them, a big, when they're doing their teacher training, like they did their training the last few days. We made sure that they had a big meal each day, and we give them certificates for doing well at things or for, passing a training or different things like that. But yeah, and even during the COVID situation when they were not at school, we still sent them a small amount, not their full salary, but enough for them to feed their families and to,
Very nice.
So.
Wow, thank you, Chareyl, for sharing that. So I just want to let everybody know that the discount prosperity pricing ends in about an hour and a half. That's when we're going to close the books, send the second payment to the Haitian Roots Wax account so that we can have those funds enabled for them for the holidays. Hopefully we can, uplift some spirits, fill some bellies for the holidays. That would be great. At the same time, let's let that wax moon now. Come on, wax, help out, right?
I think wax would be better at $1. That's all I'm saying. I think it would just be cool if it just went to $1 before Christmas, and then basically.
Yeah, if that happened, then currently it would feed the entire next year of
all of Haiti, basically, for a couple of weeks.
Well, yeah. Then we're talking about another school being built too. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Chareyl, I know that you don't follow the crypto blockchain ecosystem closely, but back in 2016, 2017, and 2018, we had a really strong bull market in crypto. And, some lucky people saw 10, 20, 30,000% increases in some of their positions, right? So this is unheard of in the equity side, right? I mean, if you make 10% in a year, you're feeling pretty smart, right? Well, in crypto, you can have, literally positions go up 200. I've seen positions go up 300% in a day with liquidity, meaning that you can actually sell at 300%. I've actually seen positions 10x in a small window of time with liquidity. So that's what we're kind of seeing right now, starting to happen in the crypto market. And it's looking really good, right? But we're at a very precarious place in just world history. So it's, even though crypto looks really good and really strong, and everybody's thinking, okay, we're going to have another 2017, but on steroids. It's really, we're kind of holding our breath because of everything else that's going on in the world. It's like, you just don't know, right? That's crypto. It's like, it's either going to break up really hard, it's going to break down really hard, right?
Yeah, because we have seen the same increases you see, we have seen them go down in the same pace as well in the past few years.
Yeah, and it's been a brutal 2.5, 3 years bear market, right? But we definitely within the last 6 months have seen some real strong activity in life, and large institutions coming into the market. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's like, this is where it's all going. It's just, when is the next strong bull cycle for the crypto market? Many believe we're in it and it's going to continue. I'm still kind of holding my breath. But what that can mean is, wax saw a high of around $2.30 in the past, right? Right now it's sitting at 4 cents. So that's quite a disparity, 4 cents between its high of $2.30. My personal opinion is that we will see new highs in wax someday, right? Is that this bull cycle that we're in? Is it the next one? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But I have every position I have been in since 2012, right? I've been in hundreds of different positions. Every position, and I may have sold at the wrong time, most of these, but in hindsight, I go, holy crap! Every position saw new highs. Like, it just happens, right? So for wax, with all of its great partnerships and its leadership and their focus on the NFT space, it would be hard for me to believe that wouldn't follow the same suit as the rest of the crypto market at some point, right? So this is kind of the dilemma we're in, right? It's like, we know how much of a need there is.
That is like all speculation, so we have no idea where it's going. But something that I would love to ask Chareyl is, in these NFTs, this like digitalized videos and images and the packs where you send them and open and you get the new ones. Have you been able to test it? Have you seen the packs? Do you have a Wax account that you have Michael helped you to show how it works?
Yes, we have the Haitian Roots Wax account, but then I was messing around with the different ones that he sent to me, but I've been getting notifications now. So that's been kind of cool, because now that I've set up these accounts, because we tried a couple different ones. And Michael had me do some on different,
Yeah.
And so, but it's been interesting because now I've been getting a lot of the notifications every day. So that's been really educational for me and helping me to see like how it's going and what's going on. And so that's been fun. I've been getting notifications from these different accounts that I set up, and trying to get the Haitian Roots account set up. So anyway, I'm getting my foot in the door, just getting some of these notifications, and they're kind of fun. The notifications are all like kind of exciting, like today's market, or whatever, not market, but anyway,
Yeah.
but it's when I get the notifications, I'm like, it's like the whole world's, that whole, climate seems exciting. So.
Yeah, and I mean this entire new ecosystem, this is just the beginning that we are talking about right now. We have no idea if the projects we are working with, if Uplift.art will continue to do things like this, and if it will go awesome. That's the plan. Michael wants to do everything. We want to keep doing this. But as we all know, we have no idea what happens in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years' time. We don't know where we are. But the plan is to keep doing this. And in this process, it's lovely to actually see the use case of what good we can do in the world, because these transactions can happen so fast, without borders, without anyone preventing them. And the longer we go, the easier it will be to use them in real life as well. So you don't have to exchange it to something and send it to bank account and lose time and lose value on the way, but you can actually use it directly, and that is coming. We see Visa is working with an Ethereum stablecoin. We see PayPal is going to implement Bitcoin, and we see big like index funds are doing indexes now. we see a lot of these movements happening. So it will be very exciting to see if more of this donation is going to charities in this way, because that creates a trust for us as a donor. If we give something on the blockchain, we can follow exactly where it's going to what place. That is not possible for us to do if we go with a dollar donation. It goes to you, and then we have to wait for you to tell us what happened and where it went on the way. With the blockchain, we can actually follow that the more implementations we see in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's pretty exciting.
It's really cool, and I feel excited to be a part of it. I mean, very ignorant to most of it, but it's fun to learn and to, you know, to see what you guys are doing and be a part of it. And at the end of the day, to have you helping in any way, helping those in need and helping charity, but the fact that you're helping the kids in Haiti, the kids that, you know, I've been there, I've seen them, I work with them, I'm on the ground, and that you trust that is pretty exciting to me. And I hope that we can show you. I wish that we could follow it like you're saying, but you know, I'll send you guys pictures of the kids eating, and you know, so you can see what your efforts have done, because it is a lot of efforts. It's people sharing, and, you know, Corey's talents, Michael's, all of you guys doing what you're doing and getting the word out. And so, I mean, honestly, I'm so thankful that you have, you know, faith and trust in our organization, and, you know, and hopefully I can assure you that your money's going to a good cause. You're doing good. You really are doing good. I hope that when you put your head down on your pillow at, you know, tonight, that you can know that you've done something really amazing, something really great.
And what is nice here is we are not only doing something good for these kids and the families and the teachers, which is the major and big part, but everyone doing this is having fun while doing it. With this new technology, the NFTs, we can trade them, we can combine them, we can do a lot of fun things. And when we do that, portions of that are going all the way, all the time back to where it should go. And that could in the future be something very interesting to see. I mean, it already is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Chareyl, can you tell us a little bit how you got started in the nonprofit space? Because when I got home from Haiti on one of my first trips, I saw a clear need to disrupt the charitable space, because, you know, after the tsunami, which was about 11 years ago, you know, I've been to Haiti recently, and I just look around and I go, holy crap, I mean, it still looks like a war zone here. And I go, where did those billions of dollars go? So immediately I said, blockchain could be a great tool to bring transparency and accountability to the charitable space. And so then I came home, you know, and this was about 1.5 years ago now. And I gathered a bunch of blockchain buddies to create what we were calling a charity on the blockchain, right? Uplift Nation. But the thing is that I even hired this really expensive, talented philanthropist guy that runs $1 billion charitable fund. I even hired him to consult with me for 1.5 hours just to ask him questions, right? Which was a huge education for me. And I learned really just how broken the charitable space in America is and how they're run, right? Mm-hmm. And so the more I learned, the more like I was going like, oh God, you know, running a nonprofit in America is like a nightmare. And so I started thinking like, how can I reinvent a business type, a paradigm, what is a win-win-win? And that's where slowly Uplift.art came about, because Uplift.art grew out of Uplift Nation as a means to be a revenue driver for charity, right? And so I thought, okay, because of the blockchain, because of NFTs and putting art on the blockchain, why can't we have a business where 50% of the revenue goes to a charitable partner that either myself or the community vets and we can get behind, right? Start off with Haitian Roots because I'm familiar with you and what you guys are doing. it just was a no-brainer to go in that direction. But after my education of the charitable space in the United States, and from my opinion, that it's really perceived in not an empowering light, and the revolving door of charities is immense, meaning you can't really attract the best talent because you're asking them to work for free almost, right? In comparison to what they could get in the free market, right? You can't compete with Apple or Google as far as talent, right? Because you can't pay them, now I'm generalizing because sometimes maybe this great talent doesn't want to make that hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? Maybe they just want to work for a fraction of that. But by and large, it's hard for charities to really attract the talent to make those charities really flourish and to be these revenue makers. So my growing experience from Uplift Nation into Uplift.art, thinking, okay, let's just create a revenue business to where 50% goes to a charitable partner, 25% goes to the artists involved, and 25% goes to the operation. So everybody's winning. And at the same time, the community flourishes because there's ways to incentivize and offer value to the community to where everybody's winning. The community, which is, the most important, because if you don't have a community, then you have nothing, right? So you really need to have an engaged, incentivized community. And with blockchain and NFTs, you can have that. So can you tell us a little bit, Chareyl, about how you got into the charitable space and kind of what some of the, I guess, the opportunities or the frustrations have been for you over the years?
Yeah. So, I've been doing charitable work since I was a teenager. I think I just maybe was born for that. I don't know, because I came from a family that didn't have a large family, and didn't have a lot of money, but I don't think I ever really saw myself as that. Like, I never saw myself as, this victim of poverty, because I always saw people around me with less. And, at 16, I belonged to the mayor's task force, but anyway, I lived in the Philippines in my early 20s doing humanitarian work. And then started, I've traveled to a lot of third world countries. And then I started working in adoption, and I worked in Guatemala and Ethiopia and Haiti. And Haiti was the last country that I added to my plate, but now it's the one that I've left with, that I stayed with. And then just shortly after working in Haiti, my husband and I adopted a son, and Michael knows that's not how it works, but I'll just say that we adopted a child in that process. So we have a son from Haiti, but my the co-founder of Haitian Roots, she also adopted and from Haiti. And we both kind of, after adopting from Haiti and working in adoption, thought that there's more, that something else has to be done, because, maybe 300 children are adopted to the United States out of Haiti, and that's helping that 300 children. But what about all these children that are left in Haiti? And, like Michael said, you go to Haiti and you're like, this country looks like a war zone, and yet they should be warriors. I mean, their history of winning their freedom and, from slavery. I mean, the Haitians should be, I don't know, they have this genetically warrior, their genetics are like warriors. They fought for their freedom, and it should be different. But I think Haiti has become like a victim of charity. Like they've, in some ways, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but anyway, it's been over 17 years since I've worked in adoption, and then starting Haitian Roots, we started in 2005, and just talking to people on the ground in Haiti and spending a lot of time in Haiti. I mean, back in the days, I used to take the parents to Haiti. Things have changed now, the way adoptions work, or how Michael's adoption went. But I used to take the parents down to Haiti to meet their kids. So I was going to Haiti 4 or 5 times a year. So I'm on the ground, I'm talking to people. And after the earthquake, I learned some really interesting things about charity. So when, let's say, Red Cross, they raise money and they say, we're raising money for Haiti because of the earthquake there. And once Red Cross gets that money, and it's not necessarily that they have to do charity with their money, but they actually do not have to give the money to Haiti. So there's no real accountability for these large organizations. They can use a tragedy or a calamity or whatever to raise funds. But if they don't have something on the ground or a program in Haiti that they want to develop or work with, and Haiti's a hard country, they don't want to just give the money to the government, which they have, but that money never makes it down to the person in the village. I mean, UNICEF took blankets and water and things around. Things were done during the earthquake, but nothing of, major significance. They didn't rebuild buildings or, but anyway, so people need to realize that if an organization is raising money and they say it's for Haiti, these big organizations, they don't have to give it to Haiti. That money doesn't have to go to Haiti. They have to account to the IRS, to the U.S. government that they're doing charity, but they don't have to show where that money. If I raise money for Haiti, but I built a blood center in Chicago, they used the money for charity. It doesn't have to go anyway. But Haitian Roots, we decided from the very get-go, all of us have jobs outside of the charity. So it's like Michael said, like, if I could devote all my time to Haitian Roots, I would love that. But I would have to use the funds that are being raised to pay myself. So at this point, we don't. 100% of our funds go to the program. So when you say you're raising money for food for Haiti, that's exactly where the money goes with Haitian Roots. That's exactly where it goes. And so anyway, that's a lot of it just came from opportunities. So, I work in adoption. So then we decided to start with a sponsorship program where we would just send the kids to school. We started with 25 kids. We'll pay for these kids to go to school in their neighborhoods. But then we just grew. It got bigger and bigger. We had like 200 kids in programs and they were going to schools all over. So we went to Haiti, visited the schools they were going to, and we started testing some of our kids. And some of them couldn't even read or write. And that's when we realized that kids were going to school where the teachers weren't being paid and the teachers weren't showing up to the classroom. And then that's when we decided we can't keep paying to send these kids to schools that are crappy, that they're not even getting an education. So that's when we decided we have to have our own schools. We have to change the system. We have to make better schools. And I mean, we've met with the Minister of Education. He loves our education model. He's like, we would love to use this for the whole country. And we're like, that would be great. But, we wouldn't throw money at that. But we would love to help them develop that. And I mean, we have a lady on our board. She writes curriculum for schools all over the world. She works for Monsanto Research. And so the government's like, they know this is a really great company that writes, that, helps schools all over the world. And they're like, we want Haitian Roots to help us. But anyway, we thought, let's just focus on our kids and focus on these, the kids that we're working with. And, but our 2 schools are pretty much at capacity. They could take a little bit more. So then that means, it's time for us to start another school. It's time for us to build another school. But it all comes really down to funding. But the other thing I was going to tell you about, because I work in adoption and I've put myself on, volunteered to be on other committees. Like I was the caucus chair for Joint Council on International Children's Services. And now I'm with the National Foundation for Adoption. I'll be their caucus chair. So I'll put myself in meetings with government officials and things like that. And these are all in volunteer capacity, but just to learn. And one of the committees that I joined recently was with the Department of State in educating people on charitable giving. And, some of the things we're trying to teach people we want to start doing some PSAs and help people like, and Michael and we've talked a lot about this, but your heart goes for the orphan when you get into a country. And that's what's happened to a lot of people. They're like, let's throw money at orphanages. And what that created was an orphanage crisis in Haiti. So orphanages started to be built for pretty much the wrong reason, for a business, for people to make money. And there's just a lot of research on that. So, but I think I've just evolved as time has gone. I think charity is where my heart and where my soul is. I work for a nonprofit adoption agency, and then Haitian Roots came about because some of us, the founders were interested in making a real change in Haiti, and that's what we're trying to do. So, but that's kind of where we came about, how it's all kind of evolved in a little short box. But
so now you guys know how easy it is for me to get behind Haitian Roots. Chareyl is such an expert in this area, such a dedicated, generous soul. I mean, thank you, Chareyl, for what you do. And, I know at times it's very difficult, and going back to the, and this was a huge learning experience for me, right? Going through this adoption process and learning about, in Haiti, orphanages aren't called orphanages, they're called creches. But, what happens is that it becomes a business, right? And these creches actually become a better option for families than the kids living at home, where in Haiti, home oftentimes means you're living in a little makeshift little building next to the road with no doors, because we'd be driving down these decrepit streets, right? Sometimes blazing 55 miles an hour, sometimes mostly in hard traffic going 1 mile an hour at a time, because there's no stoplights, it's all chaos on the streets, right? It's either gun it, go as fast as you can until you stop, right? Or you're just crawling, inching, 2 hours to go 10 miles sometimes. But you see these families literally living in a little thing like this on the side of the street, and you see the baby crawling on the wood floor here, and cars just flinging by, right? You see their Saturday markets. They pile their fish crates and stuff, their offerings, literally on piles of trash, right? That's their table, is piles of trash, right, on the side of the road. But what I've learned through this process is that a lot of people with good intentions, they want to throw money at these orphanages, and hey buddy,
that's a bright light.
Yeah, and so they want to throw money at these orphanages, creches, and thinking that they're doing a good job, and in many cases it is, but it's temporary, right? Because what happens is that now these creches become the golden shiny house on the hill, and so parents say, well, I can either raise my baby here on the street with who knows what I'm going to feed him next, or I can bring him to the creche up on the hill and drop him off, right? And just pray for a better life, right? So it becomes like this situation to where the creches just become a better option in a lot of these parents' minds. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Chareyl?
Well, yeah, it's in a lot of ways, the creche will say, I can give your child, it's like a beacon. It's like a light, like the car, you see the cars with the big light, for their big sales. Well, that's what the creches have become. And they're saying, you drop your child off here, they get, at least a couple meals, they get an education. Most orphanages offer, education. And so families are like, they would do anything to get their child an education and give them food every day. So these creches have become this light that says, hey, I can do it better than you. Drop your kids off here. And so the creches become really full. But the creches can't do a better job than a parent. A creche can't love a child like a parent. And, when 85% of the children in the creches aren't true orphans, they have parents, some of them two parents. And so and then the kids are, you know, if you go to the orphanages, there are some that are run really well, but unfortunately there's a lot that aren't run very well at all. And so, you know, money changes people. So I'm not going to say that maybe a person, they went into it with the right mind, like, look at these poor children on the streets, I'm going to start an orphanage. But then when different religious groups or different, you know, organizations go in and start throwing money at an orphanage, these orphanage directors, these creche directors, they're like, hey, I can make a lot of money. And they start to sell poverty. You know, I mean, I mean, I hate to give some of these examples, but, you know, I was working with an orphanage back in the day. Agencies had to find orphanages to partner with and work with them. So I'd go down to Haiti and visit these orphanages. And so I met with this lady, and she was doing adoptions from France. So I thought, well, okay, I'll work with her. She's doing adoptions in France, and she wasn't doing adoptions from the US. And so I started working with her, and I was going to place a couple of her kids and made sure she had a license with the government. And, you know, I checked her out and made sure everything was okay and talked to people about her. And she seemed like a really nice lady. And so I worked with her to start placing some kids out of her orphanage. And so I would take the parents down that were adopting from her orphanage, and we'd bring all kinds of stuff, which, you know, the parents wanted to bring stuff. So we thought, okay, we'll bring food and we'll bring clothes and we'll bring, you know. And so then I was working with this lady who was going into orphanages and training the nannies to be better nannies. And she would give the nanny certificate. So I talked to her and I said, hey, will you go down and work with this orphanage? And she said, okay. And so she met up with her and talked to her. But I said, don't act like we're friends. I want to do a little test. I want to see kind of like, you just independently contact her. Don't say that I sent you, because I want to just kind of feel things out at this orphanage. So she said, okay. So she planned on doing a humanitarian group to go down and train the nannies. So we had been there the week before, and we brought gobs of food and toys and, I mean, decorations for the walls. And we'd put up, you know, peel and stick decals and all kinds of stuff, you know. So anyway, Rebecca and her group, they go the following week. And so I took pictures. I sent them to Rebecca. I said, this is all the stuff that we brought. So anyway, when Rebecca gets there, everything that we had brought, and I mean everything, was not there. I don't know if it was in a storage unit or where it was, but none of it was there. Absolutely none of it was there. And so Rebecca and I talked about it. She said, you know, they want to sell poverty. So, you know, new volunteers are coming in, and they want these volunteers to have this heart to give more money. So they can't show that another organization or other people already brought lots of food and clothes and everything. So that's what's become of it, you know. And I think in some ways we have kind of made these creche directors and stuff, you know, for lack of a better word, we've turned them into kind of con artists, you know, like selling their poverty. And so that's why I'm working with the Department of State now on trying to help people to say, you know, don't just throw money at things, you know, because we've created sort of this creche crisis, this orphanage crisis. We've done that. And it's hard because, you know, I did that when I first started going to Haiti. I mean, you can't walk into an orphanage and not think, you know, and if anybody is a Bible believing type person, I mean, the Bible says, help the orphan, you know, and you get a lot of these Christians and religious groups going into countries, and they're like, I got to help the orphan and the fatherless and the, you know, so it's easy to get caught up in that. And so we have to be better. We have to do better. And even if there are good orphanages, which there are some, those are the ones that need to be supported. But I believe we need to support the family and the family unit. And when children can go to school, and you can teach the parents that no one loves your child like you do. Nobody loves your child like you do. And there's still going to be enough true orphans in a third world country where the parents have passed away, or a mother passed away and there's no father. There's still plenty of true orphans that need homes, but we need to support the family and build the family in third world countries, especially a country like Haiti, and say, you're good enough. you're better than the orphanage, and we'll take your kids and they'll go to school and we'll feed them a meal so you can go out and get a job. And in fact, you know, we need some aides at the school. We'll hire some of the parents to be teachers' aides or to serve the food, or, you know, just help them to be better. But it's time for us as charitable organizations to support the family unit, to support communities, and not make people feel like the best place is to drop their child off in an orphanage where most likely they'll suffer some type of abuse.
Yeah, and that is very beautiful that you're actually giving them opportunity to work and earn a living, and actually giving them the means to sustain a family instead of just providing them with a band-aid that will solve the problem temporarily, but it will just prolong the problem. So it's the hard path, but it's the right path in my opinion as well. So that is very beautiful. We have been on here for, currently it's 70 minutes. We have been live, so I think that we should probably round this up a bit. Few things that I should mention before we go is that Uplift.art, there is a discount on these crates right now. After discount, they will increase in price. People can still buy them. If you buy them, there will still be coming funds to Haitian Roots that will continue to go. So that is a beautiful thing. And if anyone wants to check out how much is currently in the Haitian Roots account right now, you can just go to the Block Explorer and check that out. It's all publicly available. And Michael and Chareyl, or Dennis and Corey, if you guys have anything else that you want to add before we end today, just do that now.
Yeah, first of all, Chareyl, thank you for educating me through this process, because when I first wanted to help, I was one of those people that went to Haiti, was like completely changed by it, by what I saw. And, you know, being who I am, I wanted to fix the whole place ASAP, right? It's like, I see an opportunity, let's fix it, right? But at the get-go, I was doing it all wrong, because I was coming in with the wrong eyes. I didn't have your scope or knowledge of how it all works and the things that have been done. So thank you for that. I also want to point out to the wax community, you can give to Haitian Roots directly. You can either give to their Haitian Roots, has a wax account, it's wax account, just Haitian Roots. You can give, you can gift NFTs if you'd like, you can gift tokens if you'd like, or you can go to haitianroots.com/donate.
That is
and
linked
you
in
can
the chat
donate
also.
using, you know, the traditional method, you know, with credit card or US dollars. They have multiple ways of helping out in that route as well. We've got, I think 45 minutes until the discount window ends, and we're just going to close the books on the Series 1 events. We have another payment that we're going to send after that to Haitian Roots to round that up. And I believe we're close to $30,000. It depends, you know, the price of wax is very volatile. So, you know, it could be 40,000 tomorrow. It could be 25, right? So it's, hopefully we sell that, Chareyl, in a meaningful way to where you get the most bang for the buck, so that we can really have a memorable, pleasant holiday season, and continuing the first quarter of the school program. We look forward to working more with you, Chareyl, and Haitian Roots in the future. Who knows, maybe the Uplift community can even do a drop to build a school, because it sounds like you're at a capacity with the 2 schools. I know I would love to be a part of that, and actually seeing the walls go up to a school that we helped fund, maybe entirely, right? I mean, that's a possibility.
On that
It'd be
question, how
amazing.
much does it cost to build a school?
It just depends on the size. Like, it could be, and where we do it. We work with an amazing organization in Haiti called Haiti School Project, and they do all of the, you know, we pay for the labor, but they do all of the design work. They do, you know, they helped us with the schools we have. Sometimes you buy a building and then you restructure it to make it into a school. Sometimes that's the best, with depending on where we have an area that we've that has actually come to us and begged us to start a school. So we have a little city that wants a school really bad. So, but we have people on the ground that do all the building, this Haiti School Project. They're amazing. You can look them up, but we try very hard to work with local organizations and help support other organizations. And this group just builds schools. That's all they do. And they will only work with organizations that they trust. And so they're good friends of ours, and they're always up to help us and to work on projects, but they train Haitians to do all the work, to do hands-on. We've had some builders come from the US and work with them, and they have taught them to use and do other different skills. So it's not Americans or, foreigners coming in from any country and doing the work. It's all about teaching and training. So when we go to do another school, we already have people on the ground to help us. So if Uplift is part of that, then just know we have everything in place to go, and it's moving forward when we have the money.
Nice.
I don't know what the plan is for the Solace Drop, and Blue, but if we built a school out of that, like, I'm trying not to cry right now thinking about it. Like, that would just be, that would be the coolest possible thing that could happen from, writing another goofy love song for my wife. That would be incredible. Thank you.
Let's make it happen.
Chareyl, for everything you're doing. Right. I mean, that's just like, and to go, see it someday. They're like, holy wow. Okay. Good talk.
Yeah. You can go in and
you guys.
You go in and teach guitar for a 2-week workshop.
Are you like
kidding? Yes.
1,000,000% yes. Like that, like
yes.
Yeah, that's that.
Awesome. Well, gosh, yeah. What a great thing. This experiment, right? This proof of concept drop, which is really creating what I'm calling is the win-win-win paradigm. It's enabled by blockchain. It's enabled by this Uplift community, who I refer to as the Uplifters. A lot of great humans on board, trying to find their niche and their way to add their superpowers to the ecosystem. We're at the very early stages of this. Good things are coming. We have lots of great things in the works that we're going to be announcing over the coming weeks and the coming months. It's going to get to become this beautiful, beautiful project where I think that we can not only uplift the charities we work with, but uplift the community as a whole, just to do bigger and better and badder things globally. Hey, Anders, thank you so much for hosting this live stream. Thank you for all your support. I mean, you showed me a side of you that was just awe-inspiring. I mean, your level of management, your organization, the way you see things. Again, how I was talking about Dennis at the beginning of the live stream, and how grateful I am for him and what he's put out and keeps putting out. But equally in awe of what you have done to raise the awareness in this ecosystem to what we're doing, putting yourself and your name and your brand behind it. I truly appreciate you and all that you're doing here. And Corey, you've inspired me about, beyond words, right? I mean, your take on My Bitcoin Bull remix was the spark of going, holy shit, I got some raw talent here to work with, man. Let me dive in here and just see where we can take this. But yeah, your voice and your sound and your ideas live with me. So, thank you for your contribution, what you're doing. This is just the start, and we've seen an immense amount of success, and an incredible growing community that's passionate about what we're doing, and helping us drive this mission forward. So I'm expecting just wonderful things from here on out.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that you came on, Chareyl, and could show us and like the trust level is very important for all the community to see that this is what we're doing, this is the work that will be done, why you're doing it, how you are doing it. It is very important for the trust level to continue to do things like this and perhaps fill out the food program for a full year and build a school in the coming months. I mean, if that could be done, that would be amazing. So thanks for coming on and sharing this with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Honestly,
Yeah.
you're all
right,
amazing.
yeah.
Yep,
I'm
amazed by all of you.
inspired.
Thank
I'm
you.
inspired, guys.
Yeah.
Totally inspired. Ready to go. Damn
Thanks,
this baby up.
everybody.
Thanks all for coming on, and thanks all for watching, and let's keep doing this and rocking the Uplift community and the Haitian Roots program. Peace.
Indeed.